Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for checking out my video. I'm new here as well. This is actually my second video. I'll be uploading on Mondays. This is basically like a lifestyle channel. My name is Dreyon Rogers, and today's video is going to be about how I had 4 kids with PCOS and basically how I met my husband. This was not what today's video was supposed to be about, but this new YouTube journey is raw and real, and it's not easy. And so if you would go back and look at my last video, which was my first video, I kind of explained how all of my videos are going to be raw, uncut. I'm figuring it out, with you guys. So there's nothing polished or anything like that. I don't have a fancy camera. I'm just kind of roughing it out and just doing what I can, and as I figure things out. But everything that I read about was basically saying to be consistent if you want to be successful with YouTube. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm getting a video out to you guys as promised. So this is basically going to be a story time video. So how I had 4 kids with PCOS. I met my husband when I was 19 at church. I had started going to this new church, and he saw me, I saw him. He was doing DJing like on the side, and he came up to me after church, gave me one of his business cards, and I can remember admiring his bag. He had like this Louis Vuitton crossbody laptop bag, and I remember saying, oh my God, I love that bag so much. But anywho, we went on about our merry way, and then I was in a relationship at the time, and I remember I ended up having to break things off with my boyfriend at that time. And of course, what's the first thing that we all do when we go through a breakup? I changed my status on Facebook. So I changed my status from being in a relationship to single. And then literally, I swear it had to literally be 5 minutes. I was like, geez, the minute that I changed my status, he inboxed me, and he was like, hey, I saw that your status no longer says that you're in a relationship. It says single. And I just wanted to reach out to you. He was like, I'm not sure if your sister told you or not, but I kind of wanted to reach out to you. And so he had talked to my sister first, and she was like, oh yeah, she's in a relationship. And so I thought that was just so sweet of him. It's like one of the first things that won my heart, because I was like, he's a gentleman. He waited until he saw that I was single before he tried to talk to me. So that was one of the things that made me fall in love with him. Well, we started talking for a while, back and forth through Messenger, and then we finally exchanged numbers. And then, to make a long story short, we went on our first date and everything, and then it was history from there. But to rewind, when I was a junior in high school, I was 16 years old. I had just turned 16, I believe. I had some issues with a lot of pelvic pain, and one day it was like after a long break, we were out of school, and literally I had just made a joke. I was like, oh, I don't feel like going to school tomorrow. Well, then when all of my family was getting ready to leave my house, I don't even remember, but I knew it was for a holiday, I started to get this real weird pain in the lower abdomen of my stomach. And so I was like, I don't know what this pain is. So I tried to like walk it out, and then I kept like leaning back down, because if I tried to like stretch my body up, that's when the pain would like shoot across the lower part of my abdomen. And so I remember like just saying, I'm gonna try to get up one more time. And like I tried to raise up, and then I fell to the ground. And I remember screaming out for my mom. I was in the bathroom. I was like, I cannot move, something is wrong. And so at that time, my mom's like, you just don't want to go to school. Like, you better get up. And so I was like, no, this is serious. And so I remember her saying, let's go try to walk it off. She was like, if this is gas and we go to the hospital, I'm not going to be happy. And so I was like, I promise, I don't think this is gas. So she rushed me to the hospital. They hooked me up to all kind of IVs. I remember them giving me morphine. And it was like the scariest thing that I had ever experienced in my entire life. My first time ever getting pain medication, and it was morphine through a freaking IV. It felt like fire was moving through my veins. I would never forget that. But then I remember the doctors coming in, speaking with my mom and saying that they were gonna have to do like a female examination, just to kind of check me out. They said that it was a cyst that had ruptured on my ovaries. And so at that time, my mom didn't know what that meant or, what was happening. And so to fast forward, I was placed on a birth control pill that was supposed to help with the regulation of my cycles and to help with the PCOS. It was supposed to lessen the symptoms in some sort of way. I had started to have like hair growth like crazy. Found out that was a huge sign of PCOS. And so they diagnosed me. And when they diagnosed me with PCOS, they basically called me and my mom into a room. They had tissues, and I was thinking the worst, like, oh my God, this must be something serious. And he basically said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's very common in women. He started telling me the symptoms, weight gain, the hair growth under the neck, and in places that you don't want hair to grow. And he was like, one of the biggest symptoms is that there is a possibility that you're going to struggle with fertility. And basically the game plan as of now is when you are older and you get ready to start trying to have kids, you're going to have to come back to us. We're going to have to do an ultrasound and kind of tell you when you're ovulating, because the problem is your body does not release an egg every month. He said you'll have a period sometimes you may not. It's never going to be regulated. He was like, so that's why we're doing the birth control. And I want to say it was like seasoning birth control. And back then they came in like a 3-pack, and I could remember like a part of me was like scared because I didn't know what was going on. But then at the same time, I was like, I'm going to be on birth control. Like, this was a huge deal for me. And so I can remember on the way out of the doctor's office, I wasn't upset because I really didn't understand the gravity of the situation, I guess I should say, like, or how heavy it really was. And but I do remember my mom basically saying, those birth control are not a pass to go and have sex. And so the whole time I have her in one ear and I'm still trying to figure things out on the other end. Well, so I told a couple of my friends and my classmates that, hey, this is what happened to me. And they were all like, I'm so sorry, And so that's when I started to realize that, hey, this is kind of a big deal. Doing more research on my own, I was like trying to come to terms with the fact that I may actually not be able to have children. And if I did, that it would be a struggle, So whoever I was dating at the time, that's something that I would have to disclose to them, when I was ready, that, hey, if it seems like we're going to take things a little bit more serious, this is something that you would need to know up front. So fast forward back to my husband and I dating. I basically fell in love super fast. I've always been a hopeless romantic, and he did as well. And literally, I want to say we got together in August of 2010. We have been dating, we were going on dates, having the time of our life. I was always just a big kid. I was only 19 and he was 23. 22, yeah, he was 23, so we're a 4-year difference. But he swears up and down that I told him that I was 18. I do not remember that, and I don't think I did. I mean, he said that I told him that I was 17 because I was 18 when we started dating, and then I turned 19 that June. But he swears up and down that I told him that I was 19 when I was only 18. But no, I don't know. That's another story for another day. That's funny. But anywho, we had a 4-year difference, and then so we were going steady, and I had introduced him to my sisters, and I was like, y'all have a new boyfriend. And so I didn't really, sorry y'all, my dogs are going crazy in the background because the garbage truck is outside. But anyway, so I told him that this is all of the plans that I have for my future. And at that time I wanted to be a lawyer. Hang on, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause. So I told him, all the things that I wanted for the future, and that, you know, I hope to have kids someday, but that it's a possibility that I may not be able to. And so he was like really, really cool about it, surprisingly. I remember being so nervous because I was thinking to myself, like, man, you know, if this guy wants kids, then even though I really, really like him, this may not work, you know. And he was super cool about it. And he was like, you know, don't let that stress you out. You know, the doctors doesn't have the last say. God has the last say. And he was like, you know, if it's meant and when it's time, you know, you'll have kids. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so the next thing you know, we just started having all of these plans, making all these plans together. I basically told him, I was like, look, I have my entire wedding planned out. I've been having it planned out since I was 13 years old. I knew how many kids I wanted. I was like, I'm just missing a groom. And so he laughed it off and everything. But we had both decided together that we wanted to have 5 kids. And I was like, by the grace of God, if I'm able to have children, I want 5. And he was like, you know, that's weird because I want 5 kids too. And so that was always our thing. And we would laugh and we would go on these zoo trips and walk and hold hands. And one time we went to the zoo and we were sitting right by the ducks. I'd never forget. And he got me a promise ring, and he was just like, I promise to stick by your side, you know, regardless of what happens. And if you know, like, okay, so I'm 30, I was born in 91. So all of my 90s babies, you know, a promise ring was a big deal when you were dating. And so I can remember being super excited and super happy. Well, then, fast forward to a week before I was getting ready to meet his parents and his grandma, he told me, he said, you know, I always said that the girl that I decide to marry, my grandma would have to approve of her first, because he was like, my grandma is the love of my life. She's my heart. She's my everything. And so I remember being super nervous. We were going to church one day and he was like, I want you to meet my grandma after church. And so I was like, okay, cool. So we went to church. Everything was good. Had an amazing service. Got out of church, and then he was like, Grandma, he was like, you know, this is Dre, you know. And I remember the first thing she said, she's like, she's a fine little girl. And she's like, she's pretty. And, you know, she was like, you know, I approved, you know. And so he was super excited. He had a smile from ear to ear. And I was excited because I was like, okay, you know, Grandma gave me the approval. That's what he wanted. And so that's my daughter. She's coming. She's like, I'm up, Mommy. So I was trying to do it while she was napping, but we'll get through it. Y'all hang in there with me. So fast forward to, I was supposed to meet his parents and his family, and it was just on the weekend, I want to say. It was like a Friday. So we were going into the weekend. I just started feeling really weird. And I told him, he was getting out from work, and I was like, you know, I was like, I'm not really feeling myself. Like, I was like, maybe we should reschedule, like, meeting with your parents and stuff. And he was like, I think you're nervous. I think you're just really nervous. And I was like, no, it's not that. I was like, I'm just feeling really weird. And so I would never forget, I had started to eat like those pickled chips, like not the salt and vinegar by Lay's, but it was like the dill pickle like chips. And I just wanted them all the time. And it's the only thing that would satisfy whatever weird feeling I was having. I don't know if it was nausea. I don't know if it was just an upset. Something was not right. And that's the only thing that satisfied that. So I'm sitting in the car one day at his house, waiting on him to get off from work. And it hit me, and I was like, what if? Like, that is insane. At that time, we had only been dating about a month. And so I was like, no way. And so I called him and I was like, hey, how crazy would it be if you brought home a pregnancy test so that I can take it? And he was like, are you serious? I was like, I mean, I don't know. I was like, this is the only thing that kind of makes sense. Can you say hi? Say hi. This is our baby girl, Malia. Say I'm the bottom. Okay, Chanel's getting jealous. You're my baby girl too. Okay, so let's get through this video. So he brought the pregnancy test home. I go into the bathroom and I take the pregnancy test. Literally, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, okay? You know how late that is if you know like about taking pregnancy tests, but literally as soon as I like peed on this stick, I can remember like the other side of the little window, it wasn't even all the way like wet. It literally, I saw the plus sign and I was like, oh, like I can remember being shocked, and I started calling for him and he was like not coming. And I was like, what is happening? And so I hurry up, I wash my hands and everything. I get out of the bathroom. He was across the street talking to one of his neighbors. And so I'm calling for him, and then he comes and he's like, what? You know, and I was like, look. And this guy literally says, yes. And it was the cutest thing ever. And I wish I could have recorded it. But again, I was 19, freaking out. Like, this couldn't be real. Like, it was happening, and these people told me that I had this condition where I possibly wouldn't be able to get pregnant, and like my mind was just all over the place. And so the first person I called was my sister, and I could remember telling her like, hey, they're saying that I can't have kids, or it's a possibility that I won't be able to have kids, but like this test is positive. And she was like, come over here, we're gonna take more. And so I can remember saying, okay. So I went and got more tests, and I took more, and lo and behold, I was pregnant. And so went to the doctor, everything checked out, baby was in the right place. And it was history after that. So I had my first son. He's 10 years old now. He is Michael the third. And so I can just remember the doctor saying, you know, yeah, sometimes you luck up and you're able to have, you know, kids with PCOS. Now, it could take longer than normal, but, you know, in this case, you were able to have a kid. And so I thought to myself, you know, thank God. And, you know, we were so grateful. And we ended up getting married that following year in April 6th. And it was 2 years actually, because Michael was born in 2011. And so we were supposed to get married that following year, but we took another year to plan. And so we got married. My dad's calling me. So we got married April 6, 2013. And my son was our ring bearer. And we were just so excited, and we were just so happy to see what the future held. We were super young. I was 21 and he was 24, turning 25, and we just knew we were going to be together forever, and we didn't care what it took. We were just going to do our best to, you know, make the best of our little family. And at that time, we really thought that that would be our only son. I just thought that God had blessed us with this miracle baby, and, you know, we were going to make the best of it. And so we never used any contraceptives or anything like that throughout our marriage. And then one day, I want to say, I was at home. I was at home, and I had that weird feeling again, but this time, like, I was dreaming. I had this vivid dream of like having a baby. I had, you know, a baby, and he was in my arms, and I was just like, that felt too real. I was like, it feels too real. And I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna go get a pregnancy test. And this was 3 years later. And so I went to the store and I got a pregnancy test, and lo and behold, it was positive. My second son, Makai Bentley Rogers, was born May 26th of 2014. So literally a day after my oldest son, and exactly 3 years apart. It was not planned. Like I said, we wasn't using any contraceptives or anything like that. I go back to my same exact doctor, and he basically told me the same thing. He said, listen, you know, you weren't using any contraceptives or anything like that. A normal person would have been gotten pregnant. He was like, so I'm guessing that because of the PCOS, that's why it took you exactly 3 years of trying, you know. And so after that, my third son, 3 years later, August 7th, same exact thing. So it seems as if my body was basically only able to get pregnant in 3 year increments, which is super weird. Through lots of prayer and fasting, like we never really had to try per se. We just didn't prevent, if that makes any sense. And so Same thing, my baby girl, we had 3 boys, and so she was the first one that we actually was like trying for. And I can remember telling him, like, you know, I really think our family would be complete once we have a daughter. And, you know, I always just dreamed of being a girl mom, you know, being able to do things with her and go and get our nails done and things like that. And I was just like, that would be just so special, you know, for me. And so for a while, he was like, you know, I think we're good. You know, our family's complete. 3's plenty enough. And I was like, but we always said we wanted 5, so why not? And so we started trying. And I remember we got pregnant in exactly 3 years, but it was in November. And we had our family over for Thanksgiving, and we announced to everyone. We had these shirts made, and we announced to everyone that we were pregnant, and everyone was super excited. And then December, right before Christmas, I suffered a miscarriage, which was the most traumatic thing that I had ever experienced in my entire life. I can just remember just feeling empty, feeling like I had did something wrong, and feeling like that may have been my only chance and that I had messed it up, you know. And so that was really difficult for us. And I can remember my friends sending me scripture and just saying, you know, that God would not allow hurt without a promise to follow, you know. And so that following January, I can remember going to the doctor. She checked me out. She's like, you know, you're good to start trying again if you're ready. And so February, I found out that I was pregnant again with this little rainbow baby. And so we kept it quiet for a long time. Just immediate family knew. And I can remember just having this fear of going to the bathroom, afraid of like seeing blood in my underwear, like that feeling of just being afraid. Like I had this gut-wrenching feeling every time I flushed the toilet. Like, and it was really like, I guess from that traumatizing experience of the miscarriage. That's the only way that I can explain it. And unless you've been through it, you'll never understand that feeling. But with lots of prayer, baby girl came early, 36 weeks and 4 days. We had her, and we were just so grateful. And I went ahead at that time and got my tubes tied because I was told that the scar tissuing was so bad from having to have C-sections with all 4 of them, that it would be risky for me if I did get pregnant again. Sorry, my dog is still making noise in the background. I'll try to get through the rest of this video, but all of my kids were huge babies. I had gestational diabetes. So my oldest son was 9 pounds, 11 ounces. My second son was 10 pounds, 11 ounces. My third son was 8 pounds, 7 ounces, but he was born at 37 weeks. Malia was my tiniest baby, and she was 6 pounds, and she was born at 36 weeks. So even though she was premature, she was like the biggest baby in the NICU, so they still considered her a big baby. So yeah, basically I try my hardest to advocate for any woman that's suffering with infertility issues. My heart goes out to you guys. I'm always offering prayer and advice. And I will say that for my friends that are suffering with PCOS, that this is my story. You know, I'm not claiming to be a doctor. I'm not saying that there is any medical reason for why it happens. Like, I just know that there is hope, and that's what I want to do. I want to be able to offer that hope to any mommy that, you know, is struggling, whether she has one child or no children. You know, you are a mother, and you're going to have, you know, you're going to have a child. So, though the vision tarries, you know, it will come to pass. And so I hope that my story just gives you a little bit of hope today and makes you smile that it is very much possible. And I have the scars, you know, for you to see that I'm still very much suffering with the symptoms of PCOS. I still have issues with my period being, you know, irregulated. And I still have the weight gain and the hair growth, the scarring. Like, I have all of the symptoms, but God, He had the final say. And so if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'll respond to you. Just let me be that helping hand, that comfort for you, because, there is a possibility that you can still have children. So yeah, I'll wrap this extremely long video up. I love you guys. Thank you so much. If you're still rocking with me from that last video, thank you. Like, subscribe if you are new to this channel and you would love to see more content from me, if you would love to grow with me. Yeah, just like, subscribe, hit that little bell so you can be notified whenever I come out with another video. I'll be uploaded on every Monday, and I'm hoping to get some more like detailed content in for you guys. I'm actually gonna start cleaning I'm actually gonna start filming a get it all done so that you guys will be able to see what that looks like for a family of 6 on next Monday. So I look forward to just hearing from you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave it below. Follow me over on Instagram at Dreon Rogers. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Bye-bye.